Puerto Rico as the next big superstar, the next Miguel Cotto. So Paul's got a hard job. He's the underdog. I see the boxing news have picked Rodriguez to win, and that tells you everything. But Paul, listen, we've got a game plan. We've got to go in there. It's funny enough, his last fight, Paul, was back here in February, so it's like a dress rehearsal. So he knows the arena. He's had great sparring. He's been doing a lot of sparring with Charlie Edwards, and it's been really good to deal with his height. But Paul's on it, and this is what he's chomping at the bit for. We didn't get the McDonald fight, but we've got Rodriguez win this, and Paul's the name in world boxing again.
Let's just turn around, Joe, because David Haye has entered the ring. Much noise, much expectation. How, as the trainer you are, do you see Saturday night unfolding?
I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's got to be very much a cat and mouse affair very early on. I think it's going to be very fair. I think we might have to wait to around 6 or 7 for the fireworks to really begin. David Haye, I think one of the big things for this fight is a change of trainer. Ismail Salas have been against him a couple of times against Linares, one of the best trainers in world boxing. That shows the intent in David Haye in this fight, in bringing in a top trainer in that ability.
Ismail Salas has had so many world champions, absolutely brilliant, alongside Ruben Tabarez. He looks light, he looks lean, he looks in fabulous shape, and we'll be back in a minute.
Welcome back to Spitalfields Market. This place is a buzz because David Haye has just entered the ring. The old school tunes are on as well. Johnny Nelson is with me dancing away like some kind of Saturday night lunatic. But there you go. That's the kind of atmosphere that this is building up because David Haye still has that charisma, still has that excitement. There is still...
They've dropped the tunes on, he's come in the ring, they've got all smiles on their face. I see Ruben Tobias is back in the camp again. Every time I see Ruben around David Haye, he's that calming influence I think David needs. You look at the condition of David Haye, now Ruben's back in the mix. I like that. The one thing that I've noticed in little clips on David, in even that little bit there, he's more flat-footed now than he used to be. To me, that's an issue. To me, that's an issue. I prefer him to be on his toes, the old David Haye. Now, this is something that Tony Bellew picked up on before any of us saw. I don't want him to be flat-footed because he's a good boxer. He's an explosive fighter. He needs to be on his toes. Now, you just watch. Even before, once he starts doing the pads, he'll be flat-footed, trying to get the power shots in. I don't want to see that. I want him on his toes. If he's on his toes, then he gets the shots off. I think he's one of the most cunning reverse fighters. When on defensively, he can knock people out defensively going backwards. Remember when he knocked Ruiz out? He was going back, left, right, boom, boom, took him out, and that was on his toes. When he's trying to box somebody, trying to beat them up, you know, he's pushing them forward, he's not as effective. He's getting involved with somebody like Tony Bellew that is comfortable doing that. Now, so David needs to be his explosive self, his cunning, explosive, accurate self. I don't want to see him flat-footed, not on this one.
Speaking of feet, check out the shoes that Ismail Salas is wearing, his trainer. Now, obviously, that's to give him that little bit of extra height so he can get those hands up in the air. David Haye is a big guy, obviously. But as far as his trainer is concerned, Salas, very, very experienced. We know him, of course, from his time working with Jorge Linares, who we know very, very well in this country as well, who is a legend of the sport, let's be fair. How much of an influence could he have on the way David Haye fights? Although he's not been with him a particularly long time, but he can have an influence.
You know, there's one thing I always say, there's one thing you can't buy, borrow, or pretend to have, and that's experience and wisdom. Salas has that, an abundance of that. So if anything he can pass on to David Haye, who basically thinks, you know what, I've learned every aspect of the game, Salas is the man to do that. So it's about tactics, it's about game plan, because he's not going to invent the wheel with David Haye and create something completely new. But what he's going to do is he's going to bring the best out of him. He's going to make him look at things from a different angle. The high shoes that Salas has on, that's what Adam Bellew used to use when he trained with David, when David was fighting big guys. So Salas, I think, is more of a tactician than anything else. David knows how to get himself in good condition. David knows how to get his body to peak performance. Sometimes he's pushing it a little bit too far. That's why he's had injuries. But I think Salas, it's about tactics. He's a great tactician.
Straight away we can see, just looking at David, even from the way he's just looking at Ismail Salas and looking at the pads, he seems far more focused this time around than he did when it was the first fight.
Yes, he has, because there's too much at stake. This could be the last time we see David Haye in this situation here. He loses Saturday night, you cherish this time because he won't do it again. He knows the fact he's got to put up on a performance. He says if he doesn't win in style, he packs in anyway. So there's so much on the line here for David Haye. You have no idea. Career, bragging rights, everything, complete life change. So he has to get it right. So that's why now David Haye, he's not got a smirk. He's not got that sly look. He thinks, I've got to get on with business here. I've got to get on with the job, because I'm hearing from people around David's team that if it had beat Tony Bellew in the last fight, his next fight was going to be Anthony Joshua. And all roads lead to that. He beats Tony Bellew. Without a doubt, it's Anthony Joshua. Without a doubt, that's how I see it.
But he has to win this fight and win it in style if he's to make any sort of an impact on the heavyweight scene at the moment, if he wants to be up there in among the titles
That's
again.
right. Listen, David Haye is former unified cruiserweight champion, former heavyweight champion. The best form of David Haye we saw was probably about 7, 8 years ago. Tony Bellew was the one that said he's no longer the fighter he was. Now, David has to somehow get himself back into condition to be that fighter he was, that explosive fighter he was. Over years, he'd got complacent, he's got a little lazy because of the level of opponents that he was in with. Now he got in with someone in Tony Bellew that knows the game, he's a student of the game, so therefore he's thinking, I've got to get this right. He underestimated him last time, did the same mistake that Carl Froch did with George Groves. This time, he needs to be spotted. If he doesn't, he's out, his career's over. 37 years old at heavyweight, that's when most of them mature. David Haye's career is over if he loses, so that's why he needs to get it right. I'm hearing he's saying to his people, what I know, what I've achieved, should be more than enough to deal with Tony Bellew. That arrogance got him in trouble last time. Now he's got to put it into practice.
We shall see. The crowd here at Smithfield Market lapping it up as David Haye shows off his silky skills. Everybody eager to see what happens on Saturday night. Repeat or revenge? We shall see, but we'll be hearing from the Haymaker himself very, very soon.
So David Haye looking fit and focused and sharp. You good?
I'm good, I feel great, Can't wait, really can't wait. Getting this little crowd here, nice little crowd in Smithfield Market. Everybody's buzzing, I'm feeling it, I'm feeling the vibe. Really am. Saturday night, Sky Box Office, do not miss it.
They say a happy fighter is a good fighter. Now, there's obviously more than meets the eye with all the build-up and the injury issues over the last year or two, but I tell you what, he looks fabulous.
He looks on top form, and you know what, David Haye, I'll always say David Haye, if you ever looked at these fighters, the explosive David Haye, if you'd have said this fight 5 years ago, I wouldn't for 1 second doubt David Haye not pulling this fight off, because David Haye is the most explosive fighter out there, and if he can create that kind of David Haye come Saturday night, then it's a done deal. But the problem is, because we've not seen it for a while, that's the big question. Not that he can't do it, it's because we haven't seen it for a while. Tony Bellew was the first one to recognise that, so David Haye is saying, look, I can do it again. Now he's coming, you look at his camp, Ruben Tobias is there, Ismail Salas is there, he's got a good team around him, and now he's happy, he's comfortable, he likes his environment. His life could completely change if he doesn't get it right come Saturday night. This could be the last time you see him do a proper workout. So he knows he's got to get this right.
He's given himself the best possible chance, hasn't he? With the training team around him. Is revenge